I am a quilt from around 1730. I was typically made by skilled female slaves in addition to their work on plantations in Virginia or South Carolina. Most wealthy slave owner families used me as bedding, as did some slaves. It was hard for slaves to get the materials and time to make me, so when they did, I was made with more than one purpose. In addition to being used for bedding, I was also used to help slaves communicate. The Underground Railroad was gaining popularity, but it was still hard for slaves to communicate safe routes. I was passed on to different escaping slaves, left at safe houses to indicate what they could provide, or given to conductors to allow them to drop off escaping slaves at safe houses. Often, I was kept at the plantation where I was originally created, so many slaves could memorize my directions and escape. The codes hidden in me were often mnemonic devices so illiterate slaves could use me. This also hid the directions from slave owners who might have found them suspicious. That was rare, though, because no one thought a quilt could be helping slaves escape. I was used throughout history, but I was associated with slavery around 1730 to 1750. At this time, the abolitionist movement was growing. The Anti-Slavery Society was formed in 1833 by William Lloyd Garrison and Arthur Tappan. But there was also resistance to the abolitionist movement. In 1835, there was a rebellion in South Carolina where abolitionist literature was burned and abolitionist authors were expelled. There was also a slight stigma around me, similar to ones of slaves. Since slaves made me, they started conveying their culture through different patterns. This made some families discriminatory and wary of me. As decades went on, my codes became old and outdated. The directions coded on me were less accurate, but slaves still used me as a form of communication. Eventually, when slaves were freed, they no longer needed me to give directions to escaping slaves. This shifted my use back to bedding in households. As you can see, I had a large role in helping slaves escape at the time of the Underground Railroad. I am an important part of history that should not be forgotten.